narrowly escaped her parents. The young girl annoyed them, and her governess, with her incessant questions about matters they thought trivial and which they could not answer. Her brother as well could not be bothered by the tedious inquisitions of his little sister, and so Lucy resolved to discover the solutions to the world's great mysteries on her own. She took to her brother's discarded books with relish. Although it was not the custom, and still is not, for the most part, for young girls to be schooled in much more than domestic knowledge, though it was rarely put to use, she begged her parents to have her schooled in the traditionally male disciplines. This suggestion was summarily dismissed. A tutor was hired to instruct her in the art of needlepoint and the science of cooking. She was also taught some history, French, and a little painting. She was disorganized and absent-minded, however, accidentally leaving sewing needles under chair cushions and burning loaves of bread into leaden bricks. She could not keep her active mind within the confines of the kitchen. After lessons deep into the night, she would read by candlelight the texts and journals her brother had left on his visits home from college. On weekends, if she could coerce her governess to take her, she would spend hours in libraries, devouring everything from Greek classics to histories of Irish lace-making. Her mind was a vast storehouse of information, but she kept notes nonetheless. Her notes collected quickly, and she kept them filed secretly under her mattress. She knew her parents would not approve, or even understand. Lucy did not have any playmates. She was not sociable, and did not make friends easily. Bored by the silly and trivial interests of the giggling girls her age, and not allowed to join in the activities of the boys, she kept to herself, feeling a stranger in both camps. One evening, when she was 14 years old, Lucy came in from the garden, where she had been reading Madame Bovary. It had started to rain. The large house was dark when she came inside, and the floorboards creaked as her boots made their way to the staircase. Suddenly, a crash upstairs shattered the silence. A scream followed, then a man's voice shouting and a woman sobbing. Lucy stood frozen at the foot of the stair, looking up. Her mother came flying blindly out of her parents' room, cupping her wet face in her hands. She stumbled toward the railing. "Get out!" she cried. "Don't touch me ever again!" Just then she pulled away from Lucy's father at the top of the stair and turned. She lost her footing on the carpet, and with a shallow gasp tumbled head first down the steps, landing like wet laundry at the girl's feet. Lucy found herself shrieking violently. She looked up to see a strange woman with red hair, wearing a red silk kimono, beside her father, peering down at her. Lucy knelt beside her mother, patting her cheeks and calling to her. She touched her hand to her mother's chest, but felt no heartbeat. Standing, the young girl's knees began to buckle like a newborn calf's, but she faced her father with an audacity she had always been taught to restrain in the presence of adults. "She's dead," said Lucy. "You killed her!" Suddenly she was outside, running into the night, breathing hard, uncertain whether her eyes were wet with tears or rain. She licked her lips. They tasted salty. She made her way to the library before it closed, and hid herself among the fiction stacks all night. She made a pillow of Dickens' Great Expectations, and comforted herself with the familiarity of these old, dependable friends. Truth, she concluded, is more harsh than any fiction. The next day she made her way to Oxford, on the last few shillings she possessed, and sought out her older brother, who was by that time engaged in the study of law at Christchurch. "You must take me in," she pleaded. "What?" objected her brother. "Not likely. The last thing I need here is a little sister underfoot. Besides, it's against the rules." "Damn the rules!" she cried. Her brother stared at her in horror. "Where did you learn that kind of language?" he gasped. "Quickly, ask God to forgive you." "Forgive me?" she laughed ironically. "He should ask for my forgiveness." "What are you saying?"